Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Get this meeting called to order. Committee on Development and Planning. Let the record reflect the starting time of 4 p.m. and that all committee members are present. And with that, I need to pass the gavel to our vice chair. I would make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of December 10th as written and to be placed on file.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Okay.
motion passed.
Gavel
All right.
passed back.
Thank you. Metaphorical gavel passed back. Okay, with that, I will open it up to public comment on the agenda items. Anybody here from the public that'd like to speak on agenda items, you will have 3 minutes. Anybody here from the public? Anybody virtually? Anybody virtually, Jack?
No.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on down to discussion action item B, resolution reappointment of Cassandra Nelson as an at-large member of the Historic District Commission for a term to expire June 30th, 2028. Cassandra's not here. She is still a Lansing resident. This is a reappointment. She's been a resident since 1998. She has served on the Historic District Commission for over 10 years, including time as chair. She holds a Master of Science in Historic Preservation from Eastern Michigan University and Master of Arts in Art and Architecture from the University of Arizona. Also works professionally as a historic preservation consultant. During her time on the commission, she's been involved in developing historic district guidelines and reviewing applications that come before the board. This reappointment keeps experience and continuity on the commission and handles technical decisions affecting historic districts. Anything from Mr. Fedewa, would you like to add anything about this?
Only that she's a great member. She comes to all our meetings and we actually depend on her a lot for input and stuff. So she's a great member.
And she was here last week. She just couldn't make it today. So any questions?
And for me.
Okay, looking for a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Great, motion passes. And that will come up tonight for approval or denial. Moving down to C, ordinance Z1 2025 3310 West Mount Hope Avenue, rezoning from R1 residential district to MFR multifamily residential district. Mr. Aboud, you've been here before.
Yes.
You mind just giving a brief summary of what the project is so our new committee members can be up to date on it?
It's a 2-acre parcel with a house. It's pretty beat up. I don't think anybody's lived there for a while. Looks like there's a couple tents in the background. The idea is to raise the house and develop, I think it's 29 units,
Yep.
2 stories. It'll be similar to the property just immediately to the west. That's down the road, and it's a good parcel for development, and I'm hoping without any questions that you guys will pass it. But if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, and so obviously you came to this committee last year and presented to us already. Colleagues are new to this committee. So this is approximately 1.87 acres of land, nearby single family lots. Like you mentioned, the property to the west is also an apartment complex. It's a 29-unit apartment. Site borders condos, senior housing, a mobile home park, mostly already zoned for MFR. The proposed density is about 14.5 units per acre, which is similar to nearby developments and within zoning rules. Staff says this is not spot zoning, and 51 parking spaces must be provided. They're providing 55, so no on-street parking will be needed. Also, site is adjacent to a bus route and bike lanes, and there's no utility impacts as well. The planning staff reviewed it and recommended approval. Good. Any? Yeah.
At, I think our meeting 2 weeks ago, some residents came up and were talking about some flooding concerns.
Mhm.
Do you,
At city council,
know what they were talking about? And it was the folks who are.
yeah, no, I know exactly what it is. I'm very familiar with that property. I think my dad's owned 2 or 3 units over there. My sister, my aunt lived there.
Mobile home park there. Any additional comments? Okay, this will be up for passage or denial this evening. And with that, I'd look for a motion.
So moved.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. All right, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good to see.
Next is D, ordinance Z3 2025-117 Island Avenue, rezoning from R3 residential to MXC mixed urban corridor. Mixed use urban corridor, and that is to prevent an offsite parking lot. We had the owner come in and present to us previously. Do you mind giving like a recap of what this exactly is for?
And we did invite the applicant because of the rescheduling, but they did not make it, evidently. This is a application to rezone one residential property from R3 residential, which is a multifamily residential district, to MXC, mixed use urban corridor, which matches the commercial district along South Washington and Rio Town. The bottom line is that they're proposing this rezoning to combine with their existing industrial property to have off-street parking. They did not give us numbers about how many they expect, but they did say that they would kind of retool the parking area in that section of their property to kind of do the flow. Part of your application does kind of show the limits of that lot if they wanted to do a building, because there's certain setbacks to make sure that commercial properties don't, kind of overtake residential to the adjacent to them. So with that in mind, they are proposing a parking lot, and there would be a landscaping setback with that. So they would have to plant trees and grass as well to help with the screening with residential adjacent to the site. The neighbor immediately to the west, 121 Island, has been the one to support this at Planning Commission and via letters. So the most immediate neighbor has been supportive of the request.
And then there's no other use changes being approved by this action, correct? So all they can put is that parking lot?
No, they would be able to do any MXC use, but that's why we included those setback restrictions to show how much of that lot is actually restricted to any new building. So it kind of doesn't make sense to do any new building. So they are kind of, I won't say they're stuck with a parking lot, but there are other restrictions for a new building. This is not a conditional rezoning, so they would be allowed any land use allowed in MXC.
Have we heard anything from 141, the people in that property?
Not directly to my knowledge.
There's no opposition from them.
Yeah, we have not heard any opposition. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
If I may rephrase that, there has been there was some comments made at Planning Commission and at City Council, I believe, saying that a parking lot is not a good use of this space, and that it should be housing. So those have been the only negative comments received, but it wasn't necessarily reflective of the applicant. It was just the general land use as a parking lot.
But currently they're parking on the street, aren't they? Their employees?
So my knowledge, I believe they are doing some of their overflow because they are, I think I'd have to look the number, I think a tad over 50 maybe, and they have 75 employees. So.
Has it impacted with them parking on the street is the reason the applicant is putting this in so that it alleviates some of that barriers for?
Yes, and they are looking to amp up some of their shifts to have more. So this would, yes, alleviate some of the neighborhood parking.
Can you mention what you said? I was trying to write the notes down for planting trees and shrubs.
Yes, we require a 8-foot setback, landscaping setback in the front property line, and then a 5-foot landscaping setback on the side and rear property lines. And then within that, we require 1 tree for every 30 linear feet. So they would be required to put in new trees and shrubs. As well, sorry, if I may also add, since the parking lot would be within 10 feet of the property line, they also have to put a 6-foot opaque fence as well. Okay. So they need to do both.
Perfect. Okay, do we have any additional comments or questions from the committee? Being none, like motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have proper motion in place. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Yes. Okay, and that will be up for final vote tonight as well. And then with that, we are to E, resolution setting a public hearing for special land use 2025 special land use permit at 4220 South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard to authorize use of existing building as a church. And who is to speak on that? Yep, please come to the table if you don't mind and state your name for the record.
My name is Hajeki Daisagira, and I'm here because we're trying to use this place for a church.
Can you explain a little bit? I thought I read somewhere about let's see here, a radio.
Yes, so we also have an online radio, but we got approved for a license from the government to have a low power. So we are working on that. So in this place, we will have that radio station. It's the first FM radio for Hispanic community.
Nice. Okay, let's see here. So this is currently the old Advanced Auto Parts building on Mary and MLK.
Yes,
Let's see, surrounding areas already includes mixed residential, commercial uses and other churches. City staff determined the use would be low impact with limited traffic, no outdoor events, no anticipated noise, lighting or nuisance issues affecting nearby residents. Is there anything you guys would like to add to this?
Oh, that's a great summary. The only thing I would like to add is, I believe Mary Avenue, that's the adjacent side street, does not permit on-street parking. So any overflow would not we don't anticipate overflow parking extending into the neighborhood as well.
And currently the site has 35 existing parking spaces.
And room for more if necessary.
I have a question. So for the radio station, are there gonna be any like antennas or really high things that need to be added for that?
not on top of the roof. They can go on the side of the building. Yeah.
Any additional comments or? None? Right, and then, so right now I said the current limit occupancy is 105 unless the fire marshal requires fewer. Do you see that being a problem with your?
Not right now. Not right now. We're good.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, with that, then I guess I would look for a motion.
So moved.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. This will come, the public hearing will be on March 9th.
That's fine. Okay.
And will you be able to be here to help, or someone from the planning department be here to kind of discuss this?
Planning can.
Okay, all right. Will you be able to
Yes.
attend? So that'll be March 7th, I'm sorry, March 9th at 7 PM.
Right, just to confirm, you just want us to be in the audience for questions, or do you want a special presentation?
Usually they don't have presentations in this.
Yeah, no, just in case there's any additional questions that I can't answer. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving down. F, resolution setting a public hearing on Brownfield Plan number 90, Capitol Walk Apartments, South Chestnut Street on the 500 block.
Afternoon,
Good afternoon.
presentations here. Let's start with just going through a general overview of the Brownfield program, as we like to start these presentations to reinform you or keep you up to speed with how Brownfield projects are utilized, the Brownfield program is utilized, and how this request fits within that. And then we'll introduce you to the development team and discuss the overview of the project. So to start, like I said, it's the first few slides here. The Brownfield program has been around for 30 years. It was established in 1996, and then following that, the Brownfield Authority was established and created within the city. And so the traditional uses of this were to help redevelop properties that are contaminated or functionally obsolete, and help bring those properties, clean them up, bring them back to active and productive use. And what this utilizes is tax increment financing. And so as the project is invested in and the taxable value goes up, those projects are still paid for, or the taxes are still paid for, but a portion of those taxes are captured to then reinvest and reimburse for some of those what we call eligible costs or eligible activities. And so you'll see in the next slide here on page 4, it's a chart of tax increment financing. And so this is very basic, but it gives you a visual of that. And so create if district, in this case a brownfield, you have the base property value. That's, of course, I'd say this, instead of just being a line there that slowly increases, I'd say it jumps up because you have that investment on the front end, and then it does increase as well over time. But that portion is captured. So the base taxes are always paid, and those go to the tax units. And then a portion of new taxes being utilized into the development. And I'll go through this a little bit more later on in the presentation, but how we do that locally, try to share taxes with the taxing units, so not 100% of the taxes are captured. The increase is still shared throughout several local and state millages, and then utilizing a portion of that as well for administration and our revolving fund that helps us reinvest locally into brownfield sites. And so the benefits of the brownfield program, again, it's to help reactivate those properties, bring them back to productive use. And we've seen this on a variety of projects, from business expansions to mixed use. Most recently, we've seen a lot of activity for multifamily residential, which is great, helping to bring new units of housing into our community. And so over time, this, like I said, shares some of the tax increases with the local taxing units. But once that's done, the brownfield plan is done, the entirety of those taxes, it's back on the tax rolls and contributing. And so it does help address some of the public health concerns through remediating contaminated properties, helps attract folks to the city of Lansing. In cases it can bring jobs as well. What we've seen here most recently with the addition of housing TIF, that brings a whole new world of eligible activities and purpose really behind this program. And so to really, although we've been using it for housing, to really address the housing crisis with the brownfield program. And so starting on page 6, you'll see an overview of the housing TIF. And this was expanded just a few years ago. We have kicked off having housing brownfield starting last year. So we've had a few of these already that went before council, and we see many more housing TIFs on the horizon. But this project specifically being a housing TIF request, I wanted to bring some of that up and discuss that a little bit and what that means. And so these at the state level are overseen by MSHDA, and it's really for housing that is attainable workforce housing under 120% AMI. And so what that means, we have the chart here and highlighted that band of workforce where we consider workforce housing of 80 to 120 AMI, and what that looks like per individual, and what those incomes would need to be. And we do have later on the slide too some examples of incomes that match that income bracket. So, any questions on brownfield program or housing TIF?
This is a 30-year brownfield, correct?
Correct.
No, continue unless there's any questions. Okay.
All right. So next, I'd like to introduce the development team, or the developer, and then consultant. So we have Julie Lawton-Nisa with us. Most recently, and recent to this project site, developed the Metro Place Apartments. So it's a continuation of that investment in our community. So really thankful for that. And then also Eric Helzer with Advanced Redevelopment Solutions that put together the. Would you like to share anything, or?
So if you look on page 8 of Chris's very well put together presentation, it shows where the site is that we're hoping to build on under project location. Back in 2018, we started construction on and demo on the old YMCA building that was environmentally contaminated, asbestos, broken oil tanks. I mean, vapor intrusion, anything that could go wrong had gone wrong with that site. We were able to clean that up and build Metro Place Apartments, which is 145 units with surface parking. So we have the sister property that we own next door, and we'd like to build 124 units there. And that would be 4 stories with construction. Hoping to get started on it if we can arrange financing this fall and have it ready to go. Kind of excited about it.
Sorry, you said 4-story, not 5?
It's 4 over podium. So yeah, four floors of residential. First floor's got offices and or an activation space, and we get some slides. We'll touch on how the layout of the building is for you.
So the nice thing about this for the city is right now it's surface parking. So that'll go into generating a lot more taxes for the city and provide more housing. Got to have more people downtown if you want to get more businesses going.
Where are you gonna put your parking for your units? On the site? or-
Yeah, on the site, you'll see in a couple. There's a site plan, and I'll go over that.
Because this, especially this area, I'm a planner, I don't like parking, but it's starting to get crowded and there's not enough parking already. And so it's gonna be I think, an issue in the coming years, so.
We have a great opportunity. So not only do we have on-site parking, we have some tuck under parking that's integrated in the podium, and you'll see on the first floor, there's parking in the back, but we're very close to the city deck. All of our city decks, as you know, are very underutilized. And so this is going to promote the usage of those city decks. One of the things we worked very carefully with LEDC on, we had another plan originally that was 3 floors of parking and then 4 stories above that with the housing. We worked through a lot of iterations with the architects and engineers and working with LEDC, and we came to an agreement that less private parking on site will promote city parking and walking and so forth. So being that it's so close, so should there be a need for additional parking with our tenants beyond what's on site, we'll be able to park it in the city on the parking deck.
How many proposed parking spaces are there in this?
78.
Yeah, from 120, I believe currently, yes. Currently, it's a surface lot of 120 spaces. Prior to it being a parking lot owned by Julie, it was owned by the City of Lansing Public Schools, and for about 50, 60 years, and was zero on the tax rolls. Right now, this generates approximately $18,000 only in taxes as a city parking lot. And it will go up over $700,000 a year in new taxes. Quite a big jump.
Right.
So yeah, on page 9, you have the rendering, and that's looking south at West Lenawee Street. Mentioned the 120 spaces of parking that it's currently. It's just a surface parking lot. Shows the mix of those 124 units. So varying between studios and 2-bed. And then it will include the plans as well. Just a moment. And so the overall total investment of the project's close to $39 million. So on page 10, we have the site plan. So that shows you just the first floor there. So it is keeping 78 parking spaces, so reducing that from 120 to 78. And in part, tucking some of those under the building, which we've seen in other recent buildings downtown. That works nicely. And then depending on future utilization and need, you could potentially activate those with commercial space, how it's built out. And so it allows the need initially with the parking, but also allows that to be converted in the future. But there is something we also worked on closely with the development team, making sure that a portion of that is activated. And so it's not essentially just a dead zone that would have just parking. So having the lounge and lobby and some of the amenities for the tenants within that space. So it does help activate that block as well.
Yeah, orientation on slide 10 is flipped, if you've noticed that. So just, it is activated on Lenawee Street. But north is technically down on that graphic on the right versus the left. It's up.
Those amenities, will they be visible? Is that just the, okay.
You know, lights will be on all the time, you know, because of what is there. Again, trying to keep that activation on the street.
Similar to the project that you guys are gonna be doing on Turner Street.
Correct.
Or
Yeah, exactly.
And then on the next slide, showing a little bit of that service parking, the covered integrated parking, and then the ground floor activation. And following that on page 12, we have some of the public benefits for the development. Again, going to those workforce units, looking at that band below 120% AMI. What's very helpful, at least for me initially, looking at what that means for our community, examples of employees and salaries that would be within that income band. So a lot of city workers as well as some positions throughout our community, and we have plenty of examples of these to show that range between the 80% to 120. I mean, it's a big chunk of employees and jobs within our city. And so that would be considered attainable housing for those folks. And again, with the reduction of parking spaces, something else to note, they do have a 55 space offsite lot. But overall, looking at the combination of those service lots, reducing parking from 175 to 133, that's very important to our team as we try to create density downtown, utilize parking structures that are available as much as possible, and hoping to set ourselves up for the future and slowly reduce that service parking in our downtown. So that's something that we've been striving towards. And so we're really happy working with the development team on that.
How far is the offsite lot from this current location?
How far is it, would you say?
It's just across the street, right? Next to White Metro Place.
Okay.
That lot, right?
Which one?
The offsite.
55?
Yes.
Yeah, Metro uses that lot also, yes.
So being that it's a sister project, it works for overflow.
Yeah.
I can see that on, is it that one right there, that 320?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you look at slide 8, so you have the project location. If you look at Metro Place, just south of that block there, it has 320.
Yeah.
So Hillsdale and Walnut.
Correct.
That's the lot there. So it's very close. Another part of this project, and working with the developer, looking to invest $100,000 in parks improvements for Rudder Park, being right adjacent to the project, being both a public amenity and, of course, important to their tenants as well.
Is there anything in particular as far as the amenities that's gonna improve the infrastructure for the park? Anything in mind?
It's a fountain.
The fountain? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's one component. So there's obviously very complicated going getting that funded, but I think looking at what's if we accomplish the fountain and get that operational, that'd be fantastic. But if not, looking at other opportunities that are available within Rudder Park. So we've been
It'll
working
be
with the Parks
applied to the
Department.
park regardless.
Yeah.
So kind of leaving it up to you all, how you use that. But the original intent was the fountain. So,
Just in communication with the parks director.
Right.
So, okay.
From very early on, yep.
Okay.
Right on that, so. That's 13. So for community engagement, also another component of the brownfield application that we've required following the new policy in July of 25, ensuring that there's community engagement around the project. And so the development team has been working with Downtown Lansing Inc., presented to their board meeting in January to do a run through and a presentation on it, which that also included Councilmember Spatafor as part of that meeting. And I know that there's plans to further engage around that as well. And for the request, so this was approved for a variance under the brownfield policy. And that the eligibility there would be it's within the Tifa district. And so there's 3 types of variances that a project could seek under the brownfield policy to have a variance in the capture from the base amount. And just for a quick aside on that, the base plan would be 15 years with essentially 65% of capture. So a majority of that being passed through. And so the 3 types of eligibility would be in a designated commercial district that can include the Tifa, the principal shopping district, any one of the corridor improvement authorities, and then we also have the designated neighborhoods of focus that would be included within those kind of targeted redevelopment areas. We also have variance requests for emerging developers to help encourage those folks to carry out development and invest in the community. And then for projects that are only focused on environmental remediation and environmental activities, so addressing documented environmental issues on a site. So again, the variance here would be within the Tifa district, and that went before our site committee to review that back in October prior to the December approval by the LVRA board. So the request is 30 years. That includes our standard 10%, previous standard 10% pass through, as well as 10% to go to the Brownfield Revolving Fund for administrative costs for the Brownfield program. And so that 30 years, that allows for a maximum reimbursement of about 24 million to the developer. And again, being housing TIF, these are for housing eligible activities as well as assistance in helping to maintain those rents at below 120% AMI. And then for the 10% for admin, it's about 1.8 million. And then there's also the state Brownfield Revolving Fund, which is about 835,000. There are new taxes to taxing units over those 30 years. It'll be collectively about 6 million, 6.1. 10% pass-through accounts for about 3 million of that, with the remainder being debt millages, which are not capturable under the Brownfield program. That's about 3.2 million. So on page 15, the commitments for this project, our Brownfield policy for housing TIF requires at least 20% commitment to workforce housing. And so maintaining at least 20% of those, the developer is committed to maintaining 100% of those units throughout the life of the plan. So that's helpful as well to help ensure that we maintain those workforce housing rents. And that's monitored annually for the duration of the plan. Again, the public infrastructure investment would be towards improvements to Renner Park. And then for the Universal Development Agreement, we have the investment commitment of about 27.5 million to real property improvements, with construction starting later this year, and then completion by November 28. Then the next few slides are just some excerpts from the plan itself, showing some tables for the capture. So some of the numbers that I just provided to you, just showing that broken out there. So you can see total new capture under the brownfield plan being about 26.6 million for the entirety of that 20 years. And then on, again, slide 17, same situation there as far as what the new taxes received and then the total taxes captured. Finally, on page 18, breaking down per each individual taxing unit, the amount of taxes paid by the developer throughout the duration of the brownfield plan, and then the capture that's estimated, as well as the amount of either if it's not allowed or that 10% pass through. So you can see for the city of Lansing, about 7 million, 7.1 would be captured, about $800,000 pass through and sharing to the city of Lansing specifically. And that concludes the presentation.
Can you explain about, just real quick about, it says, developer brownfield cost plan. Where's it? Developer shortfall, potential shortfall, $271,953.
Sure, I can answer that. So it's not unlike a lot of projects. Revenue is insufficient to meet the debt service obligation. So basically, the cost of the eligible expenses exceeds the amount of revenue. We did a lot of different scenarios. We were looking at the variance requests that we had. We're looking at the amount of pass through. But we decided that it was worthwhile to proceed and have a 30-year brownfield plan. Even with the shortfall, we were able to meet our debt service requirement. We look at annual 1.25 debt service coverage ratio is what lenders require. This project does not perform, obviously, without the brownfield. So we structured it in such a way with the pass-through, with the admin, the local brownfield revolving fund, those captures at those percentages. And it resulted, because of that percentage, it resulted in a shortfall. We did have another version, but it reduced the amount of capture to go to the local brownfield revolving fund. It also reduced, we looked at another version that looked at pass-through, reducing the pass-through to meet that total dollar amount. But again, we would have gotten paid off and would just less pass through to the city and to all the other taxing jurisdictions. So it's not very large. So fortunately, it's less than $500,000. I want to say it was around $300,000. I can look it up if you'd like, but it's about 300 grand.
And I heard you say that this project isn't feasible without the.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So there's at least 15 years where our debt service coverage ratio is far less than 1.25. No lender can look at the project without it. In year 16, we do go above the 1.25, and then we start to increase after that time frame with it. So, correct.
Do we have any questions or comments from the committee? Okay, so that will go before council on the 23rd for a public hearings. Will you guys be available that day for that?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you very much. We'll be there.
Anything changes?
Yeah, it shouldn't change, but obviously I will have this. If this changes, or if you have a different presentation for that, no later than 9 a.m. on the 23rd, if you can get that to me so we can make sure City TV will have it up on the TVs.
Absolutely. We'll send you a digital copy of it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
With that, you've got a proper motion in place. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Pass. With that, I don't see any additional.
Got a family there.
Yeah, we did.
Stay in the hallway. I think they were trying to keep their kids quiet.
Yeah.
Thank you for us or?
I don't know. I mean, they were here when we opened it up for public comment, so.
They were here earlier, but they were looking for Ryan
Oh,
earlier in the office, so.
I don't see.
okay. Well, not seeing any further. We don't have anybody on online, do we? Okay, no further public comment, nothing else for the committee. We are adjourned at 4:40 p.m.
So you